Welcome to the 2350 Effect. The 2350 Effect starts.
Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to the 2350 Effect. As always, I'm the co-host of the 2350 Effect, Damian Kinsey, and I'm joined, as always, by Dr. Farron. Dr. Farron, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya Farron. Happy to be here again on a Sunday evening with you to talk about a great topic that a lot of you have been actually asking me questions about. And so Damien and I thought this would be a great topic for us to talk about, becoming a public speaker and avoiding the what if game. So we're excited to talk about that. A little bit about me. I'm the owner of Creative Living Ideas. I've written 9 different books, including Raising the Well-Adjusted Child, a Parent's Manual. And I collaborate on some really amazing and fun projects with my partner over here, Damian Kinsey. Absolutely love the projects that we work on together. One of them is the 2350 Network. And then we have a couple of amazing experiences and summits that we put together. And so we have a lot of fun working on those projects together.
This is definitely always fun to have these conversations and these topics. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Thanks for joining us, Jackie. Welcome to the 2350 Effect Live. And as we always start these conversations off every Sunday. Now, laugh call text is that thing that in the last 7 days that made you either laugh out loud, get on the phone and call somebody, or text. What is your laugh call text, Dr. Farron?
I always have the hardest time with this. I feel like, because there's so many great things that, I feel like I get connected with throughout the week. But, I would have to say, kind of on a little worrisome note, my daughter fell at work yesterday. She's all good, but it made me worried. She fell down some stairs carrying some things, and as a mama, I was a little worried about that. And then, of course, as she texted myself and my other daughter, and then we ended up laughing towards the end. So we knew she was okay and ended up, being all right about it. So yeah, that was my laugh caller text. How about you, Damien?
Well, I hope she's okay, and I'm glad to hear that you were able to have, a laugh out of it. Someone falling down is always scary.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think my laugh call text was I'm a Knicks fan, and they're doing really well. They're in the championship game, and we were kind of talking about the Knicks doing well. Will they do it? Will they not? Will they disappoint and make it? So that was my kind of laugh call text for the week. Is the Knicks going to the in-season championship?
Very cool. Very cool. I hope they do for you.
I hope so. Hope they do it for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So this topic, becoming a public speaking and avoiding a what if game. We do have the virtual wellness experience, which is coming up in March, centered around those people who are interested in becoming a presenter or speaker for the virtual wellness experience. Please reach out to myself or Dr. Farron and becoming a speaker, and possibly we are looking for speakers for the summit.
Yeah, so you can always go down to Creative Living Ideas. I'll drop the link in the comment section of this event, or you can reach out to me or Damien if you're joining us on YouTube or another form. You can always click this to apply, and then it sends us your information, and then we reach out to you. We'll reach out to you by the first of the year, let you know whether or not we're accepting that. We do like to meet with every person that we are considering. So do not be surprised if we say we want to have a meeting with you, because we love to get to know our presenters. So if public speaking are really you're wanting to get out there and really start talking to people, and you have a platform that you feel passionate about, and it's in alignment with what we're talking about, reach out to us, let us know, because we would be happy to talk with you about it and see if you're a good fit for the virtual wellness experience that's happening March 21st and 20th and 21st. It's a virtual event. So we can be all over the whole world. And we've done this internationally for the last almost 2.5, 3 years now. So you can be anywhere because it's virtual, and join us.
Yes, you can definitely be anywhere. Join us again. So much information. Don't be afraid. Just reach out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got some great people in the audience. Thanks for joining us, Jackie Hallberg today. Sean Michael, Nick, thank you for being here tonight. Dr. Bet Carr, thank you for joining us as well. And Leslie Flowers, great to see you all. I feel like I've been out of touch the last 2 weeks. We've been out of the loop, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done this.
It has.
Yeah.
It's great to see everyone.
All right. So feel free to share, and anyone who is wanting to join this topic. Dr. Fan, you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah. We wanted to talk about, becoming a public speaker. There's a lot of people who, want to or desire to, and they haven't really done that. So those of you in the audience, I know several of you have already had great experience with being a public speaker. So please drop your, comments of what we're discussing in there also. But also for me, please send out to everyone that that wants to be a public speaker, send the link to this so that they can hear what we're talking about, and we may be a good fit for them. So, the first thing we wanted to talk about is what inspires a person to become a public speaker? What would inspire somebody? What inspired you, Damien, to get into public speaking or even that realm? I know your degree is in the area of communications.
So for me, what inspired me for public speaking, I think early on in my as a kid, I was able to be around and see public speaking, doing speeches at school. I can remember doing Dr. King, I Have a Dream speech at school, and doing it in front of a group of people and being nervous to do it. And then once I was able to start reading the speech or saying the speech, the nerves kind of went out. And then as I got older, I was tasked and been put in positions where I had to do training development or do public speaking or do exercise and activities with people. So the more I got into the training aspect of it, the more I wanted to do public speaking and present and be a part of different events. I think training and development is one of the biggest things for me. How about you?
Yeah, I like what you said. And I see how that has evolved for you, that public speaking experience. And I would say the same. Those of you in the audience, you won't believe this. I was a shy girl in high school. I know those of you that know me are like, really? Tanya was the shy one? But I really was. I really didn't want to talk in front of a lot of people. I had a lot of friends, but I wasn't really big into that piece. It really wasn't until I went to college did I really even start dabbling into public speaking and understanding really what it was. And I remember being in a class and having a student that was a peer of mine, and he was petrified to publicly speak. And, he didn't even know where to begin with a topic. And I'm bringing this up because it was profound to watch him work through that and to see that. And for me, even though I was shy, it came a little more natural to me, but it was neat to watch the teacher talk him through the steps of, it was literally, remember the compact disc, everyone? He was giving a public speaking, like a persuasive conversation about why a compact disc is great and what you could use it for. And I remember the teacher coaching him through all of those pieces so that he could get to his final. And he felt so good when he was done, and he did such a great job. So, that kind of began with me in that process. And I think that little spark inside of me, it was the first time that I thought, I have a voice and I know how to use it. And then, of course, I became a teacher. And becoming a teacher, it was easy to talk in front of children. So that was super easy for me to talk in front of my class and children. But I will tell you, talking in front of my peers was harder. And so I had to find ways to be courageous, to talk in front of my peers. And sometimes I would be pushed forward, like, no, you go, Tanya, and you go up and speak for our group. Like if we were doing a peer activity or something at a faculty meeting, you go forward and you do that. And I remember feeling like, oh my goodness, I don't know that I can do this for the whole group. So, but I did. And so there was a difference. Talking in front of my students, easy peasy. That was easy. They were kids. They were easy to talk to. My peers, that was a whole nother story. And I can see that. So when we talk about public speaking, or we think about it, there's some different realms that may inspire you to speak, that may be a challenge for you to speak, that might be, maybe a goal for you to speak at. And obviously also the topics. So topics can also be something that, that you may be more natural in speaking about. So think about that when you're thinking about being a public speaker. I will tell you, Damien just talked about as his laugh caller text as the Knicks playing and getting to the championship game. I know what basketball is. I know what the Knicks are, but there is no way I could publicly speak about whether their odds would be to making it to a national championship or not. But there's other things that I could speak on. So, we all have our niche that we can comfortably speak about, and finding those, I think, are really important for you. It looks like to me that we might have lost Damien. Somehow I'm still on. I'm going to keep rolling with it. When Damien pops back in, he might be having some internet issues. Those of you drop in the chat for me and let me know, how are you? How do you feel about publicly speaking? Leslie Flowers has added in here, huge fear of public speaking. Fear of judgment and criticism if one screws up. There is a huge fear of that, right? And that's where we get into that what if game, and we think about that, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Hi, Lisa Fevick. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Christy. Thanks for joining us. And let's see. Coach Sean Michael says, becoming a good public speaker equals becoming a good leader, and being a good leader equals more opportunities. Thank you, Coach Sean Michael. It can also build confidence and communication skills. Absolutely. There are times where it's really hard. I remember the first time my husband had to publicly speak in front of a group of men he's part of an association with, and he was the president, and it was really hard for him. We talked at home. He was like, what am I going to talk about? How am I going to talk? What should I say? And so, we were able to kind of work through that, and he does a great job. Now it's second nature. It's very simple for him to go through and do. All right. I hope you all are having a great Sunday. Please drop in some other things. Well, hi, Damien. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm happy to be back,
Good. Glad to hear that. So as I was saying, I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. Please feel free to drop in some of your comments and thoughts. Gita or Jita, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, so forgive me. Some people are more comfortable than others in repacking a thought that has been shared one time too many. Repackaging a thought. Ooh, I like that thought. That's very cool. That's a really great point. We just at the very beginning of the live stream talked about our virtual wellness experience that we have coming up. And when you hear the word wellness, right, you think, oh, there might only be one way. And you may have only in your mind one way to talk about wellness. But let me tell you, there are so many different ways to talk about wellness. So that is a great point of how to repackage something. Jackie, thank you for sharing. Never wanted to or expected to when you were young, but we all have so much info. We can't keep it all to ourselves. So boom, started speaking. And she hosts her own show. Boom, she does. She went from audio rooms to just killing it. She's on TikTok. I see her TikToks all the time. She is just out there, just changing the world. You're doing a great job, Jackie. Keep it up. Keep it up. All right, Damien. So we talked some things about public speakers and what led us to be public speaking. You want to go with the next thought about the what if game?
Yeah, so a lot of times we get stuck in the whole what if game about public speaking. Should we do it? Should we not do it? Is this opportunity good? Will I be good enough? And in my my expertise counts in the situation, can you tell me about a time when you at yourself was in a position where you played the what if game with yourself, but was able to overcome it and actually do well? You're on mute. You're on mute, Dr. Farron.
I'm sorry, I was coughing before, so I was trying to turn my mic off. Will you restate the question so the audience can listen, and then I will answer it?
Can you tell me about a time when you kind of doubted yourself and played the what if game, but overcame it?
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, I feel like we all can do that a lot. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. There are times like when I'm, professionally speaking and having maybe a supervisor standing over, right? That's kind of nerve-wracking when you're publicly speaking and maybe your supervisor's watching you do that. That can be a little nerve-wracking. But I can tell you for sure, when I became a curriculum coordinator with my district that I worked in a long time ago, I started talking to 250 teachers at a time. We were a very large school district. We had 16 elementary schools. I was the coordinator over all 16 of those schools for social studies. And I'd have to host these events as we were picking out new curriculum and we were rewriting the curriculum. And I would have to speak in front of a few hundred teachers. And that was really nerve-wracking, and part of the what if game for me would be things like, what if they weren't in alignment with what I was saying? How do I handle when conflict may arise? How do I handle when, they're not in agreement with what I'm doing? How do I handle it if they don't come? What if I don't really get anybody that shows? What if my sign-in table isn't correct? What if my sign-in sheets are not correct? You could what if yourself to death over one event. What if the supplies that I needed didn't come in? What if I didn't get there in time? What if my car broke down on the way? What if, right? We can do that till the cows come home. Oh my gosh. So yes, I have done that. And I still sometimes do that, but I don't so much anymore. And I can talk myself back out of it. How about you, Damien?
I'm so happy to hear that and you say that. I'm not gonna think about an earlier time. I'm gonna think about a time where so it was a couple of years back. It was at a previous job that I had, and we were going to do this big level of conversation around, how the the finished product. So I gathered I gathered 3 high-level people to have this conversation, and they were in the what if game. And they were having a conversation with me the night before, I don't know, and what if, and the whole thing was around having a conversation about, what does it look like, the adversity of becoming like a C-suite level person. And we had this conversation or whatever, and I kind of told them that, I'll do it myself. People need to hear from us and know that we don't just get to this point. What is our journey? So it was a lot about the journey and, the feeling of being in these positions and, imposter syndrome, overcoming adversity, having a calling to support somebody bigger than yourself. And it was a great conversation. And I remember at the end of it, it was two of them who were kind of on the what if game. And they were like, wow, this was like, it was great. And it was like people needed to hear it. But I said it to say this, that was one of my greatest moments professionally, because it's one thing when you're trying to convince yourself, and it's another thing when you're trying to convince other people to buy into a vision that you have. And they're in their own what if, and, if they didn't get out their way, what it would do for other people. So that was a great point for me. I think we both having a cough game today.
I'm telling you, I know. That is a great point that you brought up, because not only just can a person have themselves in the what if game, someone can be doing that to you or for you, or chirping that in your ear while you're going through. I love Leslie's messages. Thank you about fear. And I agree with those. That is great, right? Focus on your message and let the ego go. Absolutely. I do have to say now, moving forward and with life experiences of lots of opportunities to publicly speak and grow and learn, I don't worry about too much anymore. I really feel like the message is going to hit who the message is supposed to hit that day. And, I'm big on plan B. I'm a good plan B'er. So if a lot of you just have plan B ready to go and we can think on our feet and we can make the next decision and roll with the punches, we can do that. It's all going to work out just fine.
Speaking of plan B, I have a question.
Yes.
What is a hack or a tip that you would like to share about public speaking? And while you think about that, I'm going to share a tip right now.
Okay.
So in the beginning of the show, we started off and I was doing the show and I kind of bounced off. So my computer was actually having trouble not catching to the internet. So I had a backup computer ready to go, and I'm on my backup computer. So that's some of the things that I learned from preparation and public speaking. I remember being at the summit, the first one, and my technology wouldn't work. And having a backup computer and you starting it for me. So the tip and the hack I would say is always have a backup. So even in this situation, if I didn't share that with you, you wouldn't know that I went from one computer to another computer because the other computer wasn't catching. So it dropped off the internet and it wouldn't recognize and catch it. But this one was able to. So I had a backup plan ready to go. And that's from being in experience in spaces where stuff like this has happened to me. I've been in spaces where I've been in a public school where the technology, I had a PowerPoint, and the technology for the school was actually the smart board was out. So I just did it based off of a sheet of paper, my memory, and I went right through it. And I'm talking to parents about truancy reduction. And I'm having this conversation with them, and they were all engaged. But I knew walking in there, my rule of thumb is that if technology failed, if I knew the material and I'm able to do it, I can still be able to do it because I know how to do it multiple ways. So that's the hack or the tip I would tell people. Be able to always be prepared for a backup plan, and always be able to, if you're doing something virtually, make sure you have another level of technology. And if you're doing it public, make sure you have a way to do it through a PowerPoint, digital presentation, whether you do a level of engagement and work in the room, or you're just using paper and pen and resources like that. How about you?
I love that. I love that. I was just going to grab this paper over here and say, you can always write it down on something like this. We have this still. It's called paper. Right? Or we can keep notes in our phone, right? We can keep our notes in our phone and have some talking points and go through that. I'm going to pick one hack that sort of helps with this what if, in my opinion. There's a lot of times when I'll see new people that are presenting that are first-time presenters, or I can tell they're anxious because as soon as they get into it's their session, they start presenting. There is no engagement with the audience at all. And honestly, that breaks the ice for you as a presenter when you start doing that. So when I'm presenting in person, I am always standing usually at the door greeting the people coming in, or I'm in the aisle of like a conference room to just say, hello, how are you? I'm Tanya. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? What are you doing? Where do you work? What age group? I'm usually doing some type of educational training or something like that. And I'm talking to them about kind of their life, or, hey, I like your shirt, just something to just say hello to people that are coming in. And once you start talking to people and they start talking to you, they feel at ease. You can see their anxiety drop because they don't know you. They're walking into this space where they have no idea who you are. So their anxiety drops. Your anxiety drops. You actually know maybe who you're talking to, and you'll know your audience so that you can streamline some of your questions or comments or the slides to meet their needs. So for example, if I was going to talk about classroom management styles and I was talking to kindergarten teachers, but I had a presentation for high school, it's really not going to relate super well. So if I know who my audience is, it's going to really be able to help me align and streamline what I'm going to say and how they can use it effectively. And now I actually know who my audience is. So that to me is a huge hack. And it takes a minute or two, but it's so worth it.
That's such a great point, and this is such a great question and connection. I'll give you another one. I usually use the room and what's going on in the room to do my opener.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of hit what was currently in my place in space. So, and if it doesn't, I definitely are always prepared to pivot.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember being in a space where I think it was probably like 100 people, and it was almost 100 people, and it was a conversation, and it was, it was a group of educators, and a lot of it was their frustration, and I just kind of utilized the room and what they were talking about to pivot to have the conversation around the material. And then when they were saying, it was like, I'm sorry, I'm unloading a lot on you. And I told them, it's okay. We're doing exactly what the topic is based on this conversation. So I was able to pivot and utilize what they currently were dealing with to facilitate the conversation around what was going on. And then I showed them the material, and it was like, wow, you were able to use what we're talking about and blend it into the material or conversation. So definitely willing to pivot and press pause and the whole space for people to have their moment. But don't let it hijack your presentation on what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely. So let's talk about preparing. So we talked about like pivots and, different hacks that you can have, but how important for you, and what do you do to prepare for a presentation, Damien, to kind of combat that anxiety of the what if game?
I think knowing the material and living with it, finding that nexus of relatability, how it relates to yourself and the individual, figuring out what kind of opener you're going to do. For me, it's so important. Knowing my audience and, who I'm talking to. I've prepared, and I've done the virtual part of it with these summits. I've gone to elementary school, middle schools, high schools. I spoke at workforce development spaces, conferences, colleges and universities. I've spoken at hotels, and I've spoken in little small rooms or classrooms or office spaces. In all situations and places, it's all about, holding spaces and trying to connect with your audience on an authentic space. So that's part of the preparation, knowing who am I talking to and why am I talking to, and why is this message hold value for me and them? Because if it makes sense and it holds value for me and they can care less, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. And I love that. So you've had a lot of experience, and that's really good, in a lot of variety of spaces. Not everybody gets that opportunity. And I would say for those that are more of a novice, that are just starting out, you would be, in my opinion, an expert level. I know how much preparation you need. It's not much. He's pretty much a natural. But practicing, Leslie had dropped that in, practice, practice, practice. It is really true. And practicing your timing is important, myself, and, when during work, I give a lot of presentations all the time, and I do time out. How much time am I talking about this one topic? How much am I talking about this? I want to make sure that I'm able to get the, content out in a good amount of time. And so, you want to make sure that you've hit everything that's important in your message that you're giving them. And you want to make sure that it's not rushed, that you didn't go too short, you didn't go too long. Okay. So, taking that time and practicing. I mean, I have literally recorded myself, set my phone up and recorded myself, and watched it again. And that is the best. You are able to actually see yourself. You'll see what direction you're pointing. If you're in an in-person event, which direction side of the room do you talk to more than the other? You can see your body language, your mannerisms. You can see when you don't know it, because you look back at your notes and you'll be like, oh, I didn't really know this part. Maybe I want to change that, because if I don't know it well enough, I probably shouldn't be talking about it, And so it's really great to do those types of things and practice your timing. Very first, when Creative Living Ideas started, I'd been speaking to staff and teachers, but I was going to do this in-person conference that I had been really wanting to do. And it was a trauma-informed conference, and I really wanted to be there. And I got in finally to be a presenter, and I was so excited. I literally put myself up for the weekend and practiced, because I just wanted it to be right. So I think practice really helps get rid of that what if also.
And I think you're leaning on towards what Nick is asking as well. How do you decide if you're knowledgeable enough to kind of present on something? I think a lot of it is sometimes do you have the actual education? Do you have the lived experience? So ask yourself, do you have the education is one of them. Do you have the lived experience? Do you have the passion for the topic?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those things can kind of help you in those situations when you're looking to try to decide if you actually are a good fit for those topics. Do you have the education? Do you have the lived experience or the passion for it? Because sometimes your lived experience is just enough to be the story that connects the bridge with someone else. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And you know what, Nick, I agree with what Damien is talking about. And a lot of times, and I wouldn't say this is imposter syndrome, I would say a lot of times we know a lot about certain topics that we think everybody already knows, and they really don't. And so they need to hear that message. And even if they're in the same realm, so I'm just going to go into your world right now, Nick. You're a publisher. You have helped many people in the last year publish their books successfully. You could literally go and talk on that topic in any space. And I am telling you, even if your audience are people that are also publishers, they're going to learn something from you, because you're going to bring something to the table that is unique and different. And, even just having a collaborative time with a group of like-minded people is still incredibly powerful.
Even lived experience. You have a book on more than your diagnoses. When you have individuals who are talking about different levels of diagnosis, that's their lived experience, and you're having that conversation.
Sure.
So, you know how Dr. Farron and parenting, they always talk when you're speaking to a parent, they're the expert of their kids and their own stories. So it's the same thing with your life. You're the expert of your life and your own story. So even if you're writing a book about your life and you're speaking to it, you can be able to present on that topic because it's your lived experience, your life. No one can tell you what your story is.
Yeah.
Well, your parents can tell you in the beginning because they were young. You were so young, you couldn't have the recall to it. That's about it.
I know. I agree. I love that, Nick. You'll get it. You'll get there. You'll get that confidence. I would feel confident in listening to you 100%. 100%. So do you do any visualization exercises that help you, or do you have one that you recommend for people? Any visualization exercises, Damien?
How do I say this? I want to say it so people, I'll make sure it's clear. So any topic I do or a presentation, I try to visualize it by writing it in my head.
By writing it in your head? Is that what you said?
So if I go over it in my brain, how the format, the timing is, and even with the interaction piece of it, I want to make sure I'm doing those things. I remember speaking at a university, and part of it was, it was a lot of, I'll wait. People were doing, I'll wait until you pay attention. Or it was the raise hand, and it was actually a desk, and I started using the knock twice if you ever did such and such. Knock 3 times if you did. So I would do that. That's what I did. So it was kind of one of those things where I try to engage differently because of what my audience is. So I write it out in my head, and that was one of the things I wrote out in my head. And then I was tasked to close the loop and be the closer of it. So I kind of wrote on this sheet of paper all the things people were talking about in the theme wise to tie it together. So that was one of the things I did, and kind of wrote it to 5 different presenters to close the loop to put it together. And that's some of the things I do, is try to make sure that I hit key points and topics of what people are talking about if I'm closing, to make sure that I'm on the same page with them in order to close the loop in the discussion.
And I knew that he did that because we've talked about that before, about his presentations. And we both kind of are like that similarly. I do go in, I do write notes down in a notebook, and I have all my topics that I've spoke about in a notebook. And I sometimes put like little charts in there, diagrams that I want to show. I kind of sketch things out on paper first and look at that. I think about things. So I spend time preparing. And I think that's, thinking is underrated. I think spending time thinking about what you're going to do is really a great preparation tool for you to be more prepared and comfortable with what you're doing, especially if you're going to do a visualization, you're going to show certain graphics, you're going to show a video clip, something like that is really helpful as you think about it and practice it through your mind. And what do you want the feel of your presentation to be? And think about that. What do you want it to feel like for people? Do you want them to feel anxious about it? Are you going to be really loud and talking to them? Are you going to be casually talking? Are you going to putting them into groups and go join their groups? Like, how are you wanting this conversation to go? What's the vibe and the feel that you want it to be? So really spend time thinking about it and planning it in your mind. What do you want it to be, and how do you want it to be effective? Now, a lot of times if you're doing in person, you don't really know what the space actually looks like unless you've been there before, you've presented there before. So you may have to have a plan B ready to go in the event that it doesn't work. So, keep thinking about the ways that you can do it a little bit different. Jot some notes down on paper. I think that's such an important thing. So those of you that get there early. Yes. Get there early for an in-person. You want to set up. And I'm like Damien, I had, a computer. I had my presentation printed and on a flash drive. So whatever, multiple connectors to the projector, I was ready to roll. Thank you, Jay, for joining us as well. And everybody else that's in the audience, we really appreciate your conversation that you're having. Damien, will you kind of throw up that virtual wellness experience again, just for people to see? just reminder, this is one event. If you're interested in public speaking, or you've got someone who wants to step up and join us, March 20th and 21st is the virtual wellness experience. You can go to Creative Living Ideas website and you can see, when you scroll down a little bit right here, do you want to be a presenter for the virtual wellness experience? And you can click here to apply. If Damien and I don't know you, we will probably set up a meeting with you and get to know you a little bit better and hear about your topic. But you can talk about topics of wellness like financial wellness, emotional wellness, social wellness, business wellness, leadership wellness, parenting wellness. Like there's all kinds of wellness, health and fitness, nutrition, all kinds of ways that you can join us and be a presenter with us. Now, we also help and kind of coach people along. So when we host an event, we spend I would say 3 to 5 different times that we meet with our presenters so that we can get to know them and help guide them in their presentation. We have walked through presentations with people. We have talked about timing with them. We've helped them feel more comfortable with it. And then Damien and I are each always in a room. So we have 2 presenters that present at the same time, and one of us is in one room and one of us is in the other room. And we're there to support you. We're there to support you. That means you can't get this to click. We're going to click it. You don't know how to read the chat while you're presenting. We'll read the chat for you. You need us to go through and move the slide deck. You share that slide deck with us early. We'll present it. We are here to help you become a better presenter and to, get your message out to the world. So it's a great opportunity, like we said, for you to share this with other people, or you can join us. And we would love to have you be a part of the virtual wellness experience.
We've also helped people reshape their presentation.
Right.
And sometimes it starts as one way people want to do it, and then sometimes it'll start as something else. So we're always happy to help, reach out, talk, and discuss, and go through the process with. We want this to be the best experience as possible for the presenters and also the people who are actually attending the summit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely do want to do that. So one of the things that we've talked a little bit about and we've touched on is I wanted to talk about engaging the audience. I talked about that at the very beginning. You've talked about that in the beginning, but engaging the audience, and then being able to read your audience. What if you lose your audience? What happens then, Damien? What if you lose your audience? What do you do?
If you lose your audience, you have to try to re-engage them. So you should always have things in your bag, your toolbox, whatever you want to call it, tricks up your sleeve to re-engage your audience. So, kind of asking those open-ended questions, playing the game, using trivia, using current events. Those are things that are so important.
Yeah, they are important. You know what? I always have, I try to, when I do in person, I have drawings, and so I engage people with having a couple of drawings of my books up at the front, or maybe a little gift basket or a little gift bag, something like that. And it's always fun. And, once you can kind of get over those what ifs, public speaking really becomes really fun. You can really have a good time. Most of the time, people that are coming to listen to you are usually interested in what you're having to say. They've signed up for your session for a reason. And so they're coming to hear you, or they know you as a lot of you are social media icons out there in the world, making waves and, getting to know people. And so they're probably coming to see you, hear what you have to say. And so engage that audience, ask who they are. Have a person hand out papers for you. Here, could you hand these out to every row? Here, can you pass out these raffle tickets for the end for our drawing to everyone? You can ask a group to get up and come up to the front with you and, help demonstrate something with you or hold something for you while you're pointing. Like, there's so many ways to get your audience engaged and keep them going. And then talk to them. Get out from behind that podium. go down and talk to them. I know we're doing a lot of in-person conversations, but even when you are, doing something virtual, take that minute or two to get to know your audience beforehand. Damien always comes up, I always give him the task of the icebreakers. He always comes up with such a great icebreaker for whatever we're doing. It could be themed around the seasons or, the time of the year or some certain activity. And he does a great job with getting people engaged and getting them started. So finding that way to do that. Looks like we lost Damien again. To engage them. And then if you start losing them, and it's hard sometimes virtually, a lot of times people keep their cameras off, but you can do little things like, hey, can you drop in the chat one word that tells you, pause your presentation and drop in the chat one word that describes how you're feeling right now about this topic. So let's try that right now. So right now, everybody that's watching, drop in the chat one word that describes how you're feeling about public speaking. How are you feeling about public speaking? Drop in one word in the chat right now.
I think you brought up a real good point, that level of you're losing your audience, get them engaged. Ask a question, get a volunteer to do something. I think those things are so important when you're trying to regain and reconnect with your audience. And Jackie said there's another good tip, acknowledging that you're losing them, and you have to be able to really be good at pivoting from that one when you do that as well. So
absolutely. And it's okay to laugh at yourself while you're up there sometimes too, or to chuckle about what's going on. Like, oh, I must have lost you guys. Okay, let me try and get you back here. And it's okay to say that. You can't just, you're not going to be perfect about everything. And so it's okay just to say, wow, there's something here that I'm missing. So let me get us back on track, and sometimes you can have a conversation that derails and you go off the track. So making sure that you're bringing yourselves back on the track is really important. Thank you, Jackie and Nick. Jackie said she's inspired about public speaking. Nick, thank you for sharing that you're a little nervous about that. She does such a great job all the time.
Nick says she's going to join the present in March.
Wonderful. We love having her. She's got so much to offer. 100%. That's awesome.
And thank you, Coach Sean, from jumping from LinkedIn to YouTube. Definitely check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube page at Creative Living Ideas. You can get the up to the minute and get the continuous follow-up and the replays of all these 2350 Effect lives and so many other things as well on the YouTube page.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. We are running out of time. This happens every time we get there. Do you know of anybody that overcame their fear of what if thinking and public speaking? Do you know of anyone or know a story of anyone?
Yes. Ironically, a lot of times when we do the we have a lot of people who have been presenters at the Virtual Wellness Experience or the Virtual Wellness Summit or the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit this has been their first time presenting and were uncomfortable presenting it, but they were so happy to be able to do it and get through it, and they were nervous, but they felt so supportive and they were able to get through the process. So there's numerous people, and there's also people who have been presenters before, but do get the nerves and haven't presented a lot and have been part of the summit as well. So it's always great to see those people. And I know we spend a lot of time working with them, more than probably other hosts of potential summits and workshops. So we do spend time, like Dr. Farron said, having 4, 5, 6 meetings. We do have one-on-one conversations, phone calls, and we also provide opportunities for them to actually mock and run over their material with us, and we can go through the process with them as well. So so not to throw anyone out there, there's been several people as well. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I love watching. I've had
the opportunity to be able to watch my children flourish as public speakers, and that has been really nice to see, and I say that for the reason that being an educator, I've watched a lot of young people, grow and develop into being strong speakers or leaders. And that's always really, really great, as well as the people that you talked about with that. But as an educator and principal, I've also have teachers that I've watched really develop to become really just empowering, leading teams of teachers, presenting at a staff meeting, like even those little things in your workplace, y'all can just do little bitty pieces like that. And you'll start to grow, your experience with that. And then come join us. We have such fun on our presentations. We love being a part of, making positive change in our world with helping getting people healthy in their mind, body, spirit, all of the ways that we have them work on their journeys. And it's very cool. It's been very cool to watch people grow and learn. So come join us. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. And you brought up a good point. If you have someone who's trying to get into public speaking and they're asking for your advice and help, co-present with them.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to do a whole lot. You could just give them a small piece of it for 5 or 10 minutes. And that you don't know how much that can kickstart someone's career.
Yeah.
Public speaking.
Yeah. And it looks like you guys probably think, oh, Tanya and Damien just hop on here and they just start talking. We literally have a list of show notes that we talk about together prior to these events, so, we really do go in and prepare and talk about what is the message we want to get across? How do we want the audience engaged? What are the parts that we want the audience engaged in? And so taking some time to do that is really going to, benefit you in the long run to take that time and go through and do that and talk to some people, present to your family, to your spouse at home. When I did my dissertation, I tell this story, you guys, you're going to love this story. I don't know that you know this story, Damien, but my husband sat with me and I said, I'm going to present my dissertation. I want you to sit on the couch. And so he listened to me run through it and he said, okay, that was good. I want you to do it again. So I did it again and he went and got a notebook and my eyes got this big and I said, well, what are you doing? He said, just keep going. And and I'm talking and he starts writing. And I was like, what are you doing? He said, well, don't you think they're going to write some notes down while you're talking? I'm writing some notes down of some questions I'm going to ask you. I thought I was going to die, literally on the spot. But it was such a great preparation for me to go, you're right. They probably are. I need to kind of get past that and not be like, oh my gosh, what are they writing about what I'm saying? And so really taking that time to practice, prepare in advance. So helpful. So helpful.
That is definitely a good one. Get someone who's gonna mimic the what you're probably gonna go into.
Yes.
Thank you, Nick, for the kind words. We love you in the network as well. So happy that we can create positive, safe spaces. Thank you as well, Leslie Flowers too. We do try to do our best to kind of support because we do remember our times when we first started. And somebody supported us, so we want to make sure we're supporting people through these processes.
We do. We want them to be successful, right? Whether they're presenting with us or it's the next presentation or the next one that they're doing. Absolutely, we really do. We want them to be huge successes.
And make it your own. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about a whole lot of things. Like the time goes by fast. You wanna?
We are going to close with a quote.
All right.
Closing.
So what is your quote?
Oh gosh, I had a quote today that I saw and I wanted to talk about it. Now I can't remember what it was. I'm just going to go with my old trusty one because I really still truly in my heart of hearts, is just true. You know, be the change you wish to see in this world. If you're wanting to see change, you just keep going out there and being you and, you know, talking your truth and be the change. Keep helping people. How about you, Damien? Oh,
I like that. I'm gonna go with this. Public speaking is just a conversation amongst friends in the community.
Yeah.
You know your material, you know your story. Somebody just wants to hear it. Share it, share it, share it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Jackie. Those are sweet comments. Thank you, Nick. It was a smart move on my husband's part. Yes. Yes. Thank you. You're muted, Damien.
Throw in your favorite quotes in the chat. We would love to hear it. You never know what quote stands with other people and kind of spark the next person to be get out of their comfort zone.
Yes. And join us. Jump on creativelivingideas.com. Go to the virtual wellness experience. Peruse through it. Look at it. We have that event. We have the Work-Life Balance Summit in October. So many great things. And then we also have the 2350 network you can check out as well. So when you come here, check out the virtual wellness experience here, the 2350 network link. And then there's Work-Life Balance in October. And then all kinds of other things on here, but definitely join us for the virtual wellness experience. If you don't want to be a presenter and you're like, I'm not really there yet, that's fine. You can join and get tickets. We've got early bird tickets available, I think till January 20th, $75 for 2 days. So you can grab your tickets for that, and now's a great time to get that for yourself for the holidays. If you're looking for a gift for yourself or for someone that you care about. But yeah, tickets are available right now. You can learn more about it here. If you want to just be a sponsor, you want to be a vendor for the event, we have all of those opportunities. Go through and click, click, click. Just clicking opens a form. It does not mean that it doesn't commit you to anything. Just start looking through there. And then there's some testimonials. When you go to Creative Living Ideas website or YouTube channel, you'll see lots of videos. We have our past presenters on. We really do highlight you. We bring you on our shows. We have Meet the Presenters nights. We do lots of things to get you prepared and ready to start talking to people. You'll know the people that you're presenting around. You'll get to know the other presenters. You'll feel very comfortable with them. You'll want to go to their sessions. They'll want to come to your sessions. It's just a really, really great atmosphere. So check that out as well. Dig into Creative Living Ideas website.
And get your early bird special tickets as early as possible. I know Dr. Farron talked about it. Commit to getting your tickets early because we do have people every year who come down to the wire the last minute, and then they're looking at the early bird special tickets, and the tickets are full price. So we'll see you at the Virtual Wellness Experience, and we'll also see you, as always, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday.
Yes.
So go be great, people. Have a
great week. Bye, everyone.